Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all the listeners at Radio Works World. I'm Louise K, the Body Whisperer, and I'm delighted to have Vikki Thomas as my guest host today. Vikki is a serial entrepreneur, an international speaker, a published author, and a very successful real estate investor. Now, Vikki's passion for property led her to educating herself to one of the highest standards in real estate in the UK. She's received a first-class honours degree in property management and investment, and is a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. But Vikki's successful career was actually combined with being a mother and a wife, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity of introducing her to the listeners of Radio Works World. Welcome, Vikki. How are you?
I'm very well, Louise. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome. So, Vikki, you've got such an impressive business background. What lessons have you learned since you've been working in a very traditionally male-dominated industry?
Well, I wouldn't say it's lessons, it's just life skills. And for me, working with the male-dominated industry and being a woman, the key thing is actually just being yourself. It's actually just being authentic, as many people talk about. I believe that too many women are in the male-dominated industries and they try and be somebody else, or they try and be like the men. Mm-hmm. And I believe that you just need to be yourself. You know, it helps a lot when you actually know what you're talking about. So education and knowing your subject is really, really key.
Absolutely. And I guess that's why, you know, you've got a first-class honours degree in property management. And what are the skills that you've actually been able to apply in business through that degree? Because I mean, most people are sort of told that you've got to go out and get education. Presumably, you've been able to apply that in a significant way.
Yeah, very significantly. For me, I grew my own property portfolio with my husband when my son was a baby, just after he was born. So he spent a lot of his time coming to auction houses and coming to building sites with me in his car seat. And I grew my portfolio by doing the buying, the development, and I buy and hold, I don't sell. So I rent them all out. But I didn't actually have any coach or anybody to kind of help me on that journey. And I had my own education by reading things and speaking to people. Then we didn't have the forums that we have now, so there wasn't all the Facebook forums that are around where you can actually ask for advice. I'm not that old, believe it or not, but I'm saying if I am. You didn't have all that sort of advice, but for me, I always like to have a challenge. And as far as the residential real estate was concerned, you know, I was then going into HMOs and converting HMOs. We developed farmhouses into semi-detached, high-end country properties.
Vikki, just there, can I just ask you, for the listeners that don't understand what a HMO is?
Oh, sorry, yes, it's a house of multiple occupation.
Okay.
So it's a property where you rent the rooms out individually, and the tenants pay a flat fee. So they pay a rent which includes all bills, and that's all they pay. So it's more lucrative than a single let, because if you've got a 4-bedroomed house, using one of the living rooms, perhaps you could make that into a 5-bedroom property, charge rent per room, and it's more of a lucrative business, and it's a better return on investment.
Oh, I see. Because you've got quite a reputation for doing that over in the Midlands, haven't you?
Yeah, as far as the house of multiple occupation, I kind of am an authority in my area, because you need to know who you're speaking to. So I've actually gone to magistrates' courts acting on behalf of clients where they've got themselves into trouble with the local government for not being licensed properly, because there's legislation that's needed with all property, and you're looking after other people in your houses. So when people get themselves into trouble, I act on behalf of them. I tend to know all the planning officers, all the HMO officers. Again, it's relationships. I say this many times to the people that I speak to be successful in any business. I truly believe that it's all to do with the relationships. You can have as much money as you like, but if you haven't got the relationships and you haven't got the you're not going to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to anybody that's getting into this business? Because you mentioned quite a few things there, like the legal aspects, etc. Is there a platform that you can teach people to do this?
Well, you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. So the biggest thing is, the one reason we created the Millionaire Underdog Club in London, which is also a global club, is because you can actually surround yourself with people that have actually got the knowledge, or the people that are actually in the same boat as you, or whether or not they know somebody that might be able to help you, all through relational capital. So
Right.
that's the key. That's the key thing. There's many things people can do when they're starting out. The first thing is that you need to believe in yourself. So when you're starting out any business, if you believe that you're going to succeed, you will succeed. I truly believe that. And then opportunities open. Again, opportunities arise when you're around people that are in, say, like-minded, where the opportunities come to you. And if you go there with an open mind, it then helps you to be able to create your vision to go forward in your business.
Excellent. So was this the platform for why you created the book, The 12 Steps to Becoming a Successful Entrepreneur?
It was because, as I was saying, from going from the residential real estate, I then decided to actually train as a commercial chartered surveyor. Because again, I wanted to have as much knowledge as I can. Being a woman in a male-dominated industry, as we all say, you need to be able to have the knowledge. So I wanted to get the highest credentials for me personally. So it was actually something that I'd achieved for myself, and obviously, credibility for my family. But many people ask me, how did you do all this with 2 young children, with your own portfolio? We've got a cybersecurity company. We now have a restaurant. We've got ponies. We live out in the country, and all these other bits and pieces. And people say to me, how did you do it? You use superwoman. And I don't ever want to use the word superwoman, because, it's great being called superwoman or supermum. But and that's the reason I created the book. It's just little steps, because if you do take business when you're starting out into little steps, and you've got somebody there holding your hands during these little steps, and what I say, it's like a roadmap, because to become successful, unsuccessful entrepreneurs believe that to become successful, you're lucky, or it's just a straight road. Real entrepreneurs believe that you go off track, and you need to be then brought back onto track if there's a dead end. And that's what my book is a little bit about. It's just a short form and a short bits of advice to show people how I became successful in my own right, with all the other bits of things I have to juggle.
Okay, because at the end of the day, you've been able to juggle so much. And being a mother and a wife is time consuming in itself. I just don't know how you've done it. But you do have an online coaching practice as well, don't you, to actually support people who want to actually go through this, to actually go from where they are today to actually creating an empire.
It is, yeah. Purely because of the requests that I keep getting, that I've created an online platform where, again, I like to use the 12 steps to make it simple. But just really where you can go from nothing and to build an empire. And again, it's hand holding, and it's very strange to hear the questions all the time, because when people question me, it's the same question from one person as I get from another person to another person to another person. So we all have the same questions, and it's just really aligning yourself to believing and having somebody, as I say, somebody there to hold your hand.
Mm-hmm. And where can people get hold of this if they wanted to do this?
It's in creation. It's not far from being completed. So what they would need to do is reach out to me on Facebook, or some link. I'm doing a webinar on the 16th of May, but that's something separate. That's on how to value businesses, because I am a business valuer. I do believe that when you go out into business, you really need to know your numbers. You need to understand profit and loss sheets. You need to understand, the EBITDA, which is all the high tech words in the business world, and you need to understand that. So I've got a free webinar coming up, which is just really a small snippet into kind of educating people because I believe now my passion is actually there to help other people become successful. I'm there to actually hold their hands and actually answer the questions that they've got when they feel they're falling over a hurdle. If I can just, you do need to, people in business do need to have some failures, but you need to pick yourself up from those failures. But if I could be there for you to actually jump over many of those hurdles instead of slipping over them, that's what I believe I'm here to do.
Fantastic. And so, Vikki, where would they actually get that information? How would they be able to join this webinar? You've got a website?
Yeah, if they go to my website, there's www.meetvikkithomas, which is VIKKI.com. And I also have a website which is www.vikkithomas.com, VIKKI. I put out blogs out there as well and newsletters. So, and I'm also contactable through Facebook. So again, the same, VIKKITHOMAS. And people can always private message me through Facebook, and I do aim to try and come back to every single person that could reach out to me.
That's fantastic. So what would you actually where's the next 12 months going to take you? What's the plan for you? Where do you see yourself in 12 months?
I see myself creating many successful entrepreneurs. That's my vision. My vision is actually to make sure that I'm there to support people. I'm there to hold their hand if need be through their business and their challenges. I had a very difficult childhood, so I had to pick myself up, and I've become very strong because of that. So there's many people out there that perhaps have been in the same situation where they just feel they need to be believed in, or they need to be shown that they can do it, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's my vision for the next 12 months. I speak a lot on stages, and I'm going to be going out speaking on many platforms, telling my story to people, and really there to say, I'm here if you need any help.
And I know, when we were talking earlier, that you have a very specific passion with regard to just helping women get into property. And where do you see that expanding in the next coming months?
Again, there's only women in property in a professional capacity. The RICS, as you said earlier, is the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. They put a post out not long ago saying there's only 15% of women in a professional capacity in the property industry. So when you say work in the male-dominated industry, in property, in the professional angle, that's very low for women as a percentage. So what I want to do is actually increase that capacity by just really helping women push through their barriers or their challenges within the property sector as well, from a professional capacity as being a chartered surveyor as well. Again, just being there for advice and helping them along their journey.
Excellent. So if there are women out there who want to get into this industry, it'll be a really good thing to sort of get in touch with you, and even if they've got any questions about whether it's the right industry for them, you'll be happy to support them in that.
Exactly. I currently, because the amount of people that reach out to me, I don't do one-on-one coaching. I do one-on-one coaching, but it's very specialist. So that's why I've started creating these online platforms and these online coaching packages. So where people can actually come into webinars, and then what I also do for the webinars to actually make them more beneficial to the people that I'm reaching out to is that I give them the option to fire off some questions beforehand. So the webinar can be directed, to the person's individual questions. So believe me when I get a list of questions through from many people, many of them are duplicated. So, many people are asking the same questions. So that I try and, I do make the webinars very personal to the people, so they can actually reach out, so they feel they're being directed to themselves.
Fantastic. So, Marina, do you have anything to add? Oh, Marina? Okay.
I'm listening, Vikki and Louise. It's turning the race, the 9-to-5 race, into the journey of your lifetime, not knowing where you could go if you really wanted to. But knowing what you want, I think is something that could be a kickstart for anyone. And having somebody to show you the insights, the mistakes they already made, and you don't need to repeat them. I think that's what holding specialized knowledge is not allowed. So you have to share it, you have to give it away, you have to share your story and inspire other people, because like you said, Vikki, if you can, the woman listening right now, perhaps in Africa or in North America or in South America, anywhere in the world, could follow those 12 steps, and they could start reading the book. Where they could find the book, Vikki, again?
The book is on www.vikkithomas.com.
So for our listeners, www.vikkithomas.co.uk or .com, sorry.
.com.
.com is your next stop. And that next stop could be your new beginning, a fresh start, reinvent your life, come into understanding who you truly are. Over to you, Louise.
Thank you, Marina. Well, Vikki, thank you so much for sharing a small part of what you've been doing in such a succinct way for the listeners. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
All I'd like to add is to the listeners is that you need to believe that you can do it. There's going to be some listeners that are starting out. There's going to be some listeners that already have businesses and some listeners that are already extremely successful. But you can always become better. And again, it's believing in yourself, and it's actually making sure that you have a blueprint, that you actually know where you are now, where you want to be in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, 12 months' time. And again, having some sort of accountability and some sort of support to get you there. Because with, like me, it's very, very easy for me to actually divert off track and do something else. And when you've got so many businesses and so many responsibilities of other people that have on you, that you need to be able to be very, very focused.
So Vikki, if I understand this right, so you created a formula. It's not a magic formula in a sense of, magic out of this reality, but what your formula, your magic formula created for you is transferable and could create for other people. You said your goal, and I love that, your goal is to create wealthy people, is to help them create better life choices. Is I read into that. So creating better life choices is a big, tall order. It's almost like impossible to call it a job, but for me it is a divine job, because you have this formula, you have this message, and once other people, our listeners, could apply that into their own life, they will see that turning your dream into reality is nothing but living your life in a way that makes you happy, in a way that makes you following your life purpose with no stopping. Over to you, Vikki. I just wanted to know what is in your opinion, what is the crucial moment that made you bring out the best version of yourself?
I think the crucial moment is believing in myself. It's being surrounded with the people that believe in you, and then when people believe in you, then you start to believe in yourself more. And then if you have an open mind and an open heart with relationships, and you're authentic, I believe that much of life isn't a mystery. It's, and business is all about, as I say, relationships, authenticity, and again, learning systems. And if you have, again, that's what my platform is about. It's all about systems, and it's growing your business with the right mindset and the right belief, as well as systems.
And I think this is where we were talking also, wasn't it, Vikki? The fact of when you have your inside working correctly, so your inside beliefs are all in alignment with your outside desires, then you're in a much stronger, more powerful position to get what you want in life, and to actually be the powerhouse that we're designed to be. And that's speaking for men as well as women. And I think some of the work that we're Vikki and I are looking to create is enabling people to come from a very strong position internally, that their internal belief systems are supporting what they want in life.
Exactly. And it's, you know, and that's, everyone has an entrepreneurial side inside them. It's whether or not they can get them out, or whether or not there's somebody there to help them create this entrepreneur. And that's really what my vision is to create entrepreneurs from either people that don't believe they are, because in the UK the word entrepreneur isn't used as much as it is all over the world. So that's my mission, and I will accomplish it.
I know you will, Vikki.
I have absolutely no doubt. If I'm certain of something, Vikki, is that you will exceed your own expectations. Over to you, Louise.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, Vikki, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you very much for sharing your message with our listeners. And Marina, once again, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing to enable people like Vikki to share their message with the world. So,
yes, thank you both. Thank you, Marina, for giving me this time. It's much appreciated.
Well, Vikki, what I was about to say is going to be loved, much loved by our listeners. You are always welcome to come back. Come on a regular basis, once a week, twice a month, each day. It's entirely up to you. All depends how badly you want to create wealth all over the world, how badly you want these listeners who are taking notes right now to be able to empower them to create better life choices. From all of us, until next time, is goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.